leaves, they're making plates. They look exactly the same. You how many times you talk about you can use natural plastic. It is all there. But now you look around and said there is no natural plastic anymore. Everything is artificial, right? And we said that. But there is an example for Bangladesh.
The
Right.
biggest source of energy is, I think, sunlight. Sun is the biggest source
Yes,
of energy.
yes. Fire next.
So China is now trying to make an
Artificial sun. You see the point? Right away, they are changing the
Yeah.
source.
Is it possible for Chinese scientists that this sun, artificial sun, will be sustainable?
Same, no, it is exactly opposite. It will become bigger mess. Same with water. Remember we had a discussion on water. Purest water they can make is from hydrogen and oxygen. That's the most toxic.
If we are comparing our artificial thing with the natural thing, that the thing that we make here artificially is sustainable like the natural things, I think there's
Artificial, the moment you think artificial will give you sustainable, you're wrong-headed. You're looking the wrong direction. Progressively, we're looking at the wrong direction. So, the moment you have nuclear or artificial energy as your energy source, right away say, no, we are going the wrong way. China is a very good example. Yesterday, about plastic, we talked about that. Every sperm has plastic in it. So how is that normal? Artificial thing got into sperm. What do you think will happen with the child that was impregnated with that sperm? It infiltrated. That's the dream of Shaitan. Get everything changed. That is stage 4. So that's what we have. We have to look at the source. So a lot of people are saying, mashallah, China is so great. They do not see that it's another invention on the wrong direction. So if water cannot be good, it make most toxic water by purifying it with hydrogen oxygen. Everybody told you that's the most pure. It's the opposite. How could that's the water matters mass source, right? First creation, water. That we made a mess by making it artificial. Energy would be the same.
So I think that
from deductive logic.
I think that if we make an artificial things like that already available in nature, for example, we are making an artificial sun, so it will not be sustainable like the natural one. Like what
it will not be. It will be implosive.
Yeah.
It will be
like what we are making in motorbike for riding like a horse. So horse and motorcycle. The motorcycle is not sustainable.
Exactly.
Yeah, it means if we are getting a power, like what
End result is
Yeah.
like, I make a crude comparison, right?
yeah,
You raped a girl and she became pregnant, right? Still you have a child. It could be a beautiful child, right? And you naturally got married and you have a child. Still is a child. Can you say they are the same? No, one of them is illegitimate. This is the crudest example I can find. So everything, we cannot just compare the end result. We have to look the pathway. How did it come to this? And you can see that one of them is halal, another is haram.
so if we are getting a power from the rest of the thing that already available in nature, it means we are doing something wrong.
That is not available, yes. Starting point,
Yeah.
that is not available in nature as a
Yeah.
power source or a mass source.
It means we are doing something wrong.
We are wrong-headed.
So how it is possible we are doing something wrong by sustainable method or sustainable process?
Oh no, maybe I misunderstood. If you are using anything unnatural, then it's not sustainable as a source. That's it. So what is unnatural? Either the source is not real or the process is not real. For instance, sugar. Source is real, sugarcane.
Processes.
Process is not real because we have injected artificial chemicals in it.
So even the artificial chemicals, they must have come from some artificial source.
And why did it become artificial?
Yes.
Because we molested the process. Good example of that, it's coming up. Petroleum. Is it natural or artificial? Petroleum, crude oil.
Natural.
It's natural. As a matter of fact, Allah has put a lot of energy in it. Right? When did it become artificial? When you put cadmium, platinum, lead to process it. And we processed with artificial energy, artificial mass. And so very little. It doesn't matter how many drops of toilet water you put in milk. The whole milk becomes poison. Right? So same logic. You have to see how did the platinum become terrible? Because it's again processed artificially. So instead of platinum, if you put platinum ore, lead ore, or cadmium ore, you see the point? Your crude oil would be sustainable if you process it that way. And that technology was with Arabs. They used to have processed olive oil to make it easily burnable. Did you know that? And where would they get their substance, chemicals? From rice husk or wheat husk, the coating, because that has those minerals. And they were processing it. I found that out in Libya long time ago, and actually had one of those lamps. If you try to burn olive oil now, it doesn't burn. I don't know if you tried it or not. But they used to have that technology. Did you hear in Prophet's time, were they using kerosene? Were they using any refined? How is the light working? How come we do not have any natural oil that burns? Have you tried that? even with olive oil or mustard oil, it doesn't burn anymore. Because they used to know the technology that refines them. So if you smell that refined one, naturally processed refined, it's perfectly healthy for your lung. I have done that with olive oil. Right? So that's what it is. You have to identify where did you go wrong, and you change that. Today, you can have an engine. I used to have a project like that runs with crude oil directly. That's the best engine. That would not produce any harmful carbon dioxide.
But also that project was not followed up for in mass production.
That's a prolonged story. Guess who canned it? We got $600,000 to follow it up. That was canned by a Zionist Jewish Shaitan's agent, president, the worst president of my university. They returned the money. That's how anti-conscious, that's how anti-science Zionists are. He was a converted Jew. So you are not going to get help from Shaitan. Even when it was funded by the government. He returned the money.
Anyone needs it?
So this is the process. If you take that, take deductive logic, Quran Hadith, inductive logic, natural phenomena, right? And you can characterize your energy, mass, and even humans. Which humans to take for your research? The ones who ask real questions, right? Why is that? Where does the logic come from? Deductive logic. Prophet Muhammad said, cure to ignorance is to ask question. You see, everything has a reference point. So I'm not just pointing out my own theory. It's from Quran. Why is Bani Israel question haram? Because Quran says so. We had this whole narrative about Bani Israel questions. So with that, you can characterize him as the ones who can ask real questions. They are the best for research. We pick those. Energy, we know that energy source. Mars, we know the source has to be natural, and it cannot be artificially molested somewhere.
Dr. Saab, can I ask? Sorry.
Yeah,
Sorry. Regarding the engine, which you say runs on the crude oil.
yeah,
Let's say we develop that engine for our drones.
yes.
Like, are those guys still in contact with you? And will they be willing to help us?
No, it was my project. I wrote the project.
Okay.
I had one student, she graduated and she left, she was from Bangladesh. The
Because right-
machine was built.
Okay.
Machine was built. in my-
Because right now the camp is looking for to build engines.
Yeah.
So if we can incorporate that sustainable.
You have two ways, right? You can use directly crude oil, or you can use naturally processed crude oil. Both ways, this should be first in the world. And your most important problem in the world today. Remember we talked about population is number one. Number two is global warming. That will solve. And Afghanistan becomes the leader.
And
Tomorrow.
that's a real phenomenon, sir, isn't it?
Which one?
Global warming.
Oh God, you should read my book. It's like everything else. People don't realize what is the source. Right? Political examples are always easy. What is the source of all the facade today?
Yeah, that's okay, but because it's
No, it's not okay. I have to explain. You see, all the problems today is because of US and Israel. Right?
because
So,
of their
all the problems in global warming is because of the processing of oil that we're doing, chemically processed. That's the source.
My question was, I agree, because of the technologies, so the global warming is happening. But is it real, the global warming?
No, it's not real. Not at all.
So global warming is not happening.
Depends on what you talk about, right? It's not, we are not, in the 70s, not too long ago, 70s, so how many? 50 years ago?
Almost.
They were saying we're going to global chilling. Same guys. Then they came up with this acid rain, remember? Discussion of acid rain. They forgot global chilling, acid rain. Then global warming was started. You should read my book, right in the front page. I will actually post it. Then they started acid rain. Then global warming started with Al Gore. He's a politician. He's the vice president who is a crook from Tennessee. What is Tennessee's job? They have nuclear, export of nuclear energy. So he was trying to sell, he was trying to say petroleum is bad and nuclear is good. He is the guy who went to Saudi Arabia to sell nuclear energy. So, this is history. He's not a scientist, he's a crook who became vice president, and he was representing the interest of nuclear energy, and he told to the whole world there's a global warming. And all they did, remember, if you decide to find something, they found everywhere evidence. Have you monitored the temperature in Ghana? They only monitor certain places, and that's the result. They combine, remember, the process is decision, then lie. Then opacity, what does opacity mean? You are confusing the issue. You trust their data. How many points did they monitor to say there is a global warming? And they say, oh, temperature is highest ever. Well, which global warming data do you have from Prophet Muhammad's time or Prophet Isa's time? Zero. They started to monitor only last, for what, 100 years. And they're comparing with history. So they lie. The same guys who told you the universe is 14.2 billion year old, didn't they tell you? They are telling you we are in a global warming crisis. So no, everything they say is a lie. So there is no point even talking about lie. So you say you are a liar, we know that. So we're not going to consider anything. But we're going to find the solution. Right now, I can tell you, global whatever the temperature crisis, whatever CO2. It is true that CO2 level in the atmosphere is rising. So you have to see why CO2 level is rising. Doesn't logic tell us that if CO2 level is high, then you have more vegetation?
Yes.
Isn't it true? That's natural process. So if you have more vegetation, then you have less CO2 because CO2 got absorbed in carbohydrate. Isn't it true? So why is it not happening? Because those CO2 are being rejected. Why are they being rejected by nature? Because they are artificial. And that's why if you do not identify that problem, you cannot solve the problem.
So like there is in Afghanistan there is reduction in snowfall. Like even the people who are alive currently, they say that there were more snowfalls in the past than we have it right now. So it might also be something natural.
I doubt it because nature is always like that. It goes up and down, up and down. And by the way, the coldest ever recorded temperature in the poles were last few years, last 20 years. And they don't want to talk about that data because that doesn't satisfy their narrative. So during Trump's time, what is the oil price during Trump's time? Anybody remembers? It became negative. Remember?
Yes.
It became negative. Trump increased the production so much that US for the first time in history was selling oil. They always import.
But we have heard this.
They became net positive. Okay, let me finish this argument. Don't forget your
Okay.
argument. During that time, the CO2 level was the lowest in US. And they became very quiet. They don't want to talk about it because they want to sell global warming. So what did they do? When that buffoon, what is his name? Joe Biden came, he canceled, he said, we are back on who? The World Health Organization, and we are also back with Paris Agreement. Remember? Paris Accord or whatever that one is. Trump canceled both of them because they are nonsense. Logically, it did not make sense, but it fits the narrative because they want to exploit. So Pope died, Pope died now, right? And then Karl Schwab, the WEF guy, now he resigned from World Economic Forum, right? Same thing now, because they are the one promoting this nonsense to exploit people. They did COVID to cheat billions of people. Now they wanted to do the global warming scam, and Trump came up. At least he canceled those. Then they say, "Oh, we cannot make money off this anymore," because he canceled both. All his organization he withdrew. He also withdrew from Paris Accord. So now they are planning to. That's why the guy resigned, right? So you see, Shaitan never tells you the truth. He's always a liar. So you cannot trust anything Shaitan tells you. Nothing. So what is your point now?
My point was that this is the truth we have heard from illiterate people who are alive, like our fathers and grandfathers.
Yes.
They say that there were, more snowfalls.
I know that even in Khulafa Rashid's time, Sahaba came and he could not get out for months because it was snowing continuously. So what? Do you know how much there was snow in Prophet Abraham's time? We do not know because nature always goes like this.
So
We had global chilling, we had global warming, where temperature goes up and down.
Yeah.
That's history.
I wanted to get that point, and that like it is something like natural. It might
Yes.
increase in the future.
Yes.
The snowfalls might increase in the future.
This is always a fact. It goes up and down. Even human age, right? How long was Prophet Adam alive? 1,000 years, right?
Yeah, the elder people in society say that before
It
40
goes-
years there was no so hot like what we feel now.
Temperature.
But in the
Yes.
summer season there was no electricity, there was no fans.
So those are real cause, right? Right now, in Dhaka city, right? If you turn off all the air conditioners, temperature will go down by 5 degrees Celsius. Just the air conditioning. Because these are unsustainable. So there is local effect. But you cannot tell me all of a sudden Afghanistan has a global warming crisis when Afghanistan is the least developed in terms of bad carbon dioxide. You don't have factories. You don't have big carbon dioxide producing technologies. They should be worried about Europe. And guess what? Europe is very happily sitting there, lecturing, just like they told you, what is the biggest problem in Afghanistan? Do you know? We talked about it. Population. Afghanistan population, after killing 2.5 million people, they're saying, biggest problem of Afghanistan, you have too many people. When will we stop listening to Shaitan? Isn't that true? I saw a lot of bans from all health organizations trying to vaccinate children without permission. They're giving toxic medicine to children. In Canada, you go to jail if you do that in school.
Yeah, even it's broadcasted on television.
Yes.
Just on Thursday,
They come from that.
they were
So-
broadcasting on.
So use logic, you find answer to everything. And I mentioned a month ago that you are in a position to analyze everything. You can say, this is a lie, and this is not logical. You have that power already, inshallah.
So no healthcare center in Afghanistan don't know about the ingredients of the vaccine.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Nobody know about it.
Yeah. And
Some of them they might know, but they do not appear
No.
to raise their voice.
That discussion is coming up. I'll have 2 examples from Afghanistan. One from Bangladesh, one from Afghanistan.
Even and the health ministry advises.
Oh, I know that.
It advises.
That's another one. You talked about that. Your health minister was forbidding importing herbal medicine because it's not certified. Even in US, Canada, nowhere in the West, the herbal medicine has to be certified by lab. It's a completely crazy idea. But we cannot.
I saw one video.
Hmm?
Yeah, I think I saw one video about the health scientist that he saying that we are playing some project that is related to the mind. But I forgot about that so many years ago. But he says that we are injecting something into the body, and we are trying to
Alter.
we are playing a game with the mind of the people.
Control the mind
Yeah.
of people.
Everything is about that. Remember 3 things Shaitan introduced? First one was dalala, second one was invoke, desire. And what is the desire? Remember? Sex, money, and control. As a nation, every nation is addicted to this. Every leader is addicted to this, unless you are hardcore Muslim. So it's normal. All the projects are like that. So how to know nature? There is an example that you can observe. Do you know crow, when they become sick, they go to ant. Ants are their little hijama artists or acupuncture. They bite them, that formic acid helps them recover from parasites. Now tell me, which science can explain this? Can Newton explain this? Can any medical doctor explain this? What is the starting point of this? How the birds know how to cure themselves? Which medical school they went to?
Yeah.
Allah controls everything. That's what I'm talking about. Allah's technology is this. You don't look at France or Russia or Turkey. This is Allah's technology. That's what I mean. Observe nature. Don't observe Shaitan.
So even this is what Allah said in Quran, like when the Habil
Yes.
was killed, so Allah sent a crow and he took the grave
Exactly.
to observe from the nature and do it.
So crow was not an alim. He was not a prophet. He was inductive logic's source by observing. But to observe him, observe the crow, you need Iman. Because Iman is necessary because your deductive logic has to come first. If your intention is not to please Allah, you say, what is this nonsense? Remember, Surah Baqarah, we talked about what is Allah talking about, this insect and little things? Kafir said that, what is he talking about? This is nonsense. We talked about that at the Quranic verse.
Yes.
So always deductive logic, Iman always comes first. So this will mean nothing. A lot of people are looking at this and say, oh, great, nature is super. I know crows are intelligent. Is that true or false? No, they are not intelligent. Intelligence comes from Allah. It's Allah's design. They are automatic.
Before 14 years, sir,
Yeah.
my friend was have a bee farm,
Hmm.
and I go there. A man comes to the bee farm that I have a disease. I am feeling a body pain. So he asked my friend that I need some bee by biting my himself.
Yes.
I am feeling relaxed.
Yeah. It's possible. See, cure is in nature, isn't it true? Prophet Muhammad said that.
Mhm.
By the way, I was bee stung on a few years ago, the first time. I freaked out and I did not know what to do. So I ended up putting honey in there. And the pain was alleviated right away. And it's gone. What dogma people tell you, you have to inject something.
ما انجینر
There
صاحب
is another myth as
زه سم
well.
نه سره جوړولی دا کارغه نه دی
Over
تېر ورځ ما
it
یو
will not
بیان
solar.
ویلی
Petrol is halal.
I don't know.
It's
What is
the
the
good
matter?
part. I know that cures. For instance, when chickens become sick, you can give them naphthalene, or artificial paraffin, and the cure. But it's not halal, right? So to speak.
You can give them crude oil.
Kerosene, yes, exactly. Crude oil was used for the longest time, by the way, for curing diseases. It was not used as fuel. We started that nonsense.
Even if you see some of the literature of like natural medicine, they do use crude oil even on the skin
Yes,
directly.
see. It makes sense. It's like olive oil, processed olive oil, natural process.
Some family gives kerosene oil to babies.
کارغه نه دی اکور
Yes, exactly,
وایي چې
exactly.
مریض
That's
شوی د
that's
ټول میرجانو پر شار باندې ولاړ سره ته پرېږدي سره ځانونه شوري امیرجان ټول راسي د ده پر بدن باندې فارمیک اسید دی که چیش چې داسې یو غوړ لري د امیرجان
عمدة
تېر
كشان
ساتي.
لك
Look at this guy. Look at this guy. He's like, when you go to doctors, medical doctors, and we're getting treatment, we're just quietly sitting there, getting acupuncture, hijama done nicely. Isn't that beautiful?
Stop their business, sir.
Huh?
That will stop their business.
Yes. We're competing. But look, doesn't that make you feel so good about Allah? Like this is a crow. Look how he's sitting. He's taking the bites. Because he knows it's the treatment.
hasn't any movement yeah
Yeah, it's nicely sitting. I've seen cats being acupuncture. You know acupuncture, the needle. Just quietly sit. No problem.
So we should also have some ants in the hijama room.
I don't know. We have to find crow first. See, this guy is coming and he's saying, "Hey
After
man,
one call, how you feel?
can I get my session now? You are already sitting there for 2 hours. You know, I want my turn."
right
It's so beautiful. Anyway, I'll take 2 examples. You still talking about humans, right? I always tell them. I was lecturing in Bangladesh and for the first time, I think, in 2005. Engineering Institute, right? They gathered a whole bunch of scientists, and I was giving my lecture. My message was this: for economic development, take money from bad guys. Do not take their technology. Do not take their. If you have to take something, take money, cash. Do not take their consulting, do not take their advice, take their money and develop your own technology.
Doctor, is money sustainable?
Huh?
Is cash sustainable?
Of course, what is the source?
I mean,
Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, did he hesitate?
no, like the cash, the money that he
I know. You see, we're talking about, whenever I say, use honey, but doctor, we cannot find pure honey. I said, yeah, if you are waiting to be pure, you'll never be able to pray. Can you ever make sure that you are pointing towards Makkah? No way. Right? So we'll miss that. But that's a very, very good point. So you realize that I'm teaching them, take money from bad guys, spend on good guys to develop your technology. Do not take the technology. Do not take the ready-made projects. Right off the top, the director of the institute, the head of the institute, came towards me and said, he has cancer and he wants to go to Canada. He needs financial help. Can you help me? Do you see the problem? I lectured for a whole 1.5 hours and he's asking me exactly opposite. That means he learned nothing. What I was telling him.
He was considering you a bad guy.
That's right. Or he was considering me a bad guy. Completely opposite. You see the point? This is the problem in Afghanistan. A lot of people, in terms of whatever I met, they wanted help. Not with my knowledge, but monetarily. Right? Because you were really struggling. And it's real, and I'm not saying that they're bad guys, it's a crisis. I say the same thing. Take money from bad guys and spend on good guys. So one of them, what does he spend on? Taking a child to the private clinic. You see? Why private? It's a French clinic. Therefore, it's much better. And he knows me. I've been telling them that has no benefit. You see the point? So he took help from good guy. What is he spending on? Bad guys. French. We can agree that that's not a good guy. And what does technology? I advise strictly against it. That do not take the child because that child does not have any disease and they will mess her up. Do you see how anti-Akal this behavior is? Do you understand? Completely opposite to what normal. So, person has no respect for my advice. He considered me as the bad guy, and the good guys, he considered bad guys as good guys. Going to Canada for treatment, those are good guys. So I'm going to spend money on them, and I'll take money from you, even though I advise completely opposite. That, 2 examples I gave. I see that all the time. All the time. It's coming. So, this is the thing about humans. You have to remind them to use Akal. It's not very complicated. 8:22, chapter 8, verse 22 tells you that if you do not use Akal, you are the lowliest of creatures. That you have to remind. Because we're not just talking about people not using Akal. We're talking about using anti-Akal. Even a child would not do that. In page 183, I don't know if you have these books anymore, but if you don't, first thing we do, deductive logic again. formulation of comprehensive mass and energy balance equation, right? This is the only equation you see, we talk about a lot of them. This is the only equation that does not have any assumption. Mass, what is the assumption behind it? Mass or energy cannot be created or destroyed.
Yes,
We know that,
conservation
right?
law.
There has no assumption. But when you put in a confined environment, in a pipe or a vessel, and you say in and out, we're already assuming that there is no other entry. Right? Nothing is coming in or out. That becomes ephemeral, that becomes illogical. So if you eliminate those assumptions, how do they look like, this equation? That is done in this page 183 in the second edition of the Zero Waste Engineering book. Some of you asked it, how do you reformulate everything, including Newton's third law and all this? We do that in this operation, done by my students.
So the assumption that nothing gets into the pipe is illogical.
Yes. See, the moment we say nothing, see, in and out,
Yeah.
so nothing else happened. There is no leak in the
Yeah.
other place. That's illogical. Because even if you have a iron ball, hollow cylinder, it will leak. And that amount, you can call it negligible, but it's not real. It always is, there is leak. So we show how to formulate the deductive logic wise without making those assumptions. So next thing to learn, now that's deductive logic. Now we talk about inductive logic. What is natural? These are the things we listed, and I'll make those slides available. Nature is complex, nature is chaotic, nature is unpredictable. Unique, productive, all these features are natural features, features of natural matter. By contrast, this is artificial, completely opposite. You see, in artificial, and you find out new science, all the theories are based on artificial. They talk about anisotropic, homogeneous. Every assumption is according to artificial, not real. That's what the bifurcation, that's what the division starts. So how did he come up with that? By looking at nature. There is no deductive logic here, just inductive, just observe.
So what do you mean by 0 degree of freedom?
Means you have no freedom at all. Part of Qadr. See, we have absolutely no freedom. Only freedom we have, anybody knows?
Yeah.
Nia, exactly. And Nia does not affect Qadr. Right? Nia is not part of Qadr. And it does not affect anything. Your Nia could be, I will change the world, nothing happens to the world. Only Nia that is applicable is your Nia to please Allah. That is 100% guaranteed. If that is the Nia, you will please Allah. Every other Nia is Amaniya, it's wishful thinking.
Sir, there you talked about two things, which was Nia, which is static, and Qas was dynamic.
Yes.
Then I raised a question that I have intention to offer namaz in the masjid.
Yes.
But Muhammad Sallallahu was sitting there that he has brought some sweets because of some ceremony or whatever.
Yes.
Then I got attracted there
Yes.
and joined the ceremony
Mhm.
and miss Salah. Though my Nia was good,
Yes.
I had good intention,
Yes.
but there I missed,
Mhm.
so the outcome was not on my hand. Class changed there, which is dynamic class.
Well,
So what happened to my niyyah? Do I get reward for my niyyah?
Isn't that the hadith? For every niyyah get reward, one. Right? Every niyyah you got one. If making niyyah, if you're sincere, you got the reward one. If you complete it, it happens because happening is part of qadar. If it actually happens, that means, how does it happen? Because every qasad is aligned. But your qasad got molested and you missed it. So that's why you're not getting 10. If you qasads are all aligned, then you get 10. So you missed out 90%.
So in that case,
So can many change? For example, a person who has been Muslim for his whole life and then at the end of his deathbed, his niyyah changes and he dies.
No,
as a
niyyah.
kafir.
See, for every action there is a niyyah. You do not make niyyah. So niyyah prompts yourself, prompts your Islam. So last act, the niyyah of the last act would dictate the outcome. So last act, if it is not self, if it is not Islam, you cannot die Muslim. So niyyah is not one static as a whole lifestyle. Because we already made niyyah in the past when we made agreement, but we break it continuously. So how many times we actually can make niyyah? Every time we decide to do something, we're making niyyah. For instance, in Western science, to tell you, about 500,000 times every day, 500,000 times, we decide something. I'm going to do this, right? And that's why nobody can say, I am in heaven because I deserve it. Because it's impossible that you make 250 plus intentions that are to please Allah. Right? So for every action, there has to be a niyyah. And what matters is before you die, the last niyyah you made determined, including in jihad when you are killed, right? You are going to be shaheed, but moment before you had discovered, you wanted to be famous, and boom, you're gone. Alim, generous person, all his life he did good, but intention mattered for every action.
But in that type of cases, sir, in the first place, we might get a reward for our niyyah. But in the second place, where we change our qasd, we might get the punishment for that also.
Yes. Yes. Because
I
you
mean, on the one hand, you get
Very good
sawab
point.
and reward.
Thank you for complimenting that. That's a very good point. Because for every niyyah you have many qasads. And these little qasads are going to hurt you because you forgot your purpose. For instance, you are going to the airport, you stop at a coffee shop. There is nothing wrong because you're still niyyah is the same. But in coffee shop you become in ghafil and you miss the flight. So you're responsible for it. That's when good niyyah is not enough. Remember, we talked about that. Prophet's companion gave the advice that after wet dream you should take a shower. Was their niyyah good or not? Their niyyah was good, right? He said they thought, I'm helping this guy because he has a wet dream, he should take a shower. And he did. He took a shower and he died. What did Prophet Muhammad say? You killed him. It's a very big problem, isn't it? But their niyyah was good. Qasads matter. That's why every moment we have to be aware. So every moment, every little event. So why am I doing this? Today we're talking about this. Abdul Rahman is not here, so we're safe. What is it called? Naswa? Naswa.
Yes.
Why? Why are you putting Naswa? Are you doing that to please Allah? You see the point? Why am I scrolling on phone? What that has to do? Those are qasads. But every little qasad they have to be aware. Why am I doing this?
Sir, because Maswar, it has a natural process, but we prefer it because smoking is artificial.
I know, but you have to, at some point, you have to ask, why am I doing this? Right? Including everything. Like, why am I getting a pet and confining the pet? So what's wrong with it? Why? Because Islam is your purpose of life. What is the purpose of life? Abad. Obey Allah with love. That's the purpose. Anytime you are deviating from that purpose, even when you are watching a game, cricket game, what are you doing? It's not the purpose of your life. You get elevated, you get excited when your team scores. Why?
So can we compare ultimate objective or goal or whatever with dream?
Drink?
Dream.
Dream.
This is my
Ultimate
dream.
goal with dream. Can we compare it?
In actual dream or dream meaning vision?
Yeah. For example, you have told us that our dream is pleasing Allah.
Yeah.
But in this case, our purpose that's based on ayah. وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ
Yes.
إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ.
Yes.
So it becomes purpose. So can
Your life vision for every action should be aligned with your purpose of creation. You see, this is why if you are purpose, if this is the purpose of this computer is to help you do things faster, right? Anytime it doesn't do that, it's deviating from its, that's definition of akhlaq. Anytime it doesn't do that, it's deviating from its purpose, right? We call it glitch, right? We have to avoid glitches. And we forget the best gift that we are accountable for is time. So even wasting time, just wasting time doing nothing or doing something that is, addictive, is a sin. So it's not a matter of halal, haram and giving fatwa. It's simply scientific.
and how can we avoid it, sir? Wasting time.
Continuing, it's always the same. Astaghfirullah. How many times Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam used to say Astaghfirullah? He has all his sins were forgiven. Right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it true? Yet in on sitting, when he's giving